So hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. So I wanted to do a quick little kind of chatty review video because I want to do them for every episode this season, just so I can give a little bit more detail as to what I thought and stuff, rather than just a reaction, you know? So, there was so fucking much in this episode. Wow. First of all, Daryl. Okay? I don't think it's any fucking secret. Daryl has been probably one of, well, if not my favourite. It's so hard to pick a favourite. I always just kind of group it into like 3 or 4 of my favourite characters. Daryl has been in there since season 2, I think, season 3. He has just, I have loved him and stood by him, even when his character was just kind of idly standing around doing nothing. I was like, I still love him. Don't talk shit about him or I will smack you mentally, you know? So, I've loved him for a very long time. But this fucking season, like, we saw him leaving food outside the door for Carol. We saw him filling Michonne in on what she missed. We saw the relationship that he has now with Lydia. I just think that's kind of interesting because he did feel like an outsider at one point, and he, much like her, he kind of blames himself for everything. And I think that's why he feels for her. Like when Lydia said she wanted to stay in the cell, he just knows that's something that she has to do. She feels like she has to do it, so he's like, okay, close the cell door. He was locked in a cell after the lineup, if you guys remember, and Dwight, I'm pretty sure it was Dwight that sent in the pictures of Glenn and Abraham's skulls for him to look at, and you just see him break down. That was when he was being held captive. I think a part of Daryl felt like he needed to suffer, that it was his fault, and I think that he's been on the other side of that wall, say, the other side of the fence, the other side of the door. So I think he gets Lydia, and it was just interesting having her refer to him as being like one of the group, as being one of them. Daryl always was an outsider. He even though he did fit in with them quite early on, he did find his place with them. It's like he never really wanted to accept that. And I guess hearing that from Lydia for him was like, whoa, yeah, I'm one of them. So yeah, I can't say enough about his character, how much I'm loving him. I'm loving that they're letting him talk. They're giving him little storylines, you know. Him and Negan in the fucking cell where he was like, we haven't gone toe to toe yet. I'm like, oh, shit. Negan, I'm just fucking loving Negan. Negan's the type of character that a redemption arc seems unlikely. It seems like, how is this going to happen? You know, and you saw that at the council. You saw them saying, you know, after everything he's done or whatever, all the people that died because of him. There has been a massive time jump. A lot of time has passed, and I've said this already, that you can coexist with somebody without forgiving them. Negan is making steps towards being a better person. This relationship that he kind of struck up with Lydia, that he cares for her. You could see that when he fucking killed your one and he was rubbing Lydia's head. It was a different side of Negan. It's kind of like the side you would have seen when he was around Judith, that he does care about the person. So he cares about Lydia. But you can kind of see him struggling with the mentality of, he's like, well, I've been trying to, you know, be better. I've spent all these years listening to what you're saying, believing in what you're saying, and trying to be a part of this new thing, and then I do something seemingly good and I'm punished for it. So yeah, I think Negan is kind of obviously Negan is struggling with who he is and where he fits in all of this too. But I think Negan's the type of character who, if you back in season 7 and told me you're going to feel bad for him, I would have gone, no, I fucking don't. He's a piece of shit, whatever, he's a bad guy. Negan really has taken steps and changed. We saw it with Aaron, we saw it with Judith, we saw it with Lydia. We saw it with Daryl, that little talk he had with Daryl there in the cell. I really just love what they're doing with him. And I love that I am feeling for him. And I know I'll probably get people yelling at me in the comments saying, you're wrong. This is my opinion. You know, my opinion is that he's a fantastically written character, portrayed brilliantly by Jeffrey, and I like what they're doing. They're not letting him go stale. He's not just boring, you know, just sitting there. Now he's actively doing things. He is trying to be different. And I didn't expect that out of him. So, yeah. And I was gone missing. And I'm like, Negan, darling, I was just starting to feel something for you. Come back. Come back. The Ezekiel Michonne thing as well. It's funny because I wouldn't have really thought that they could have related to each other. I don't know why. It just never really crossed my mind. But they have so fucking much in common. They've both been at the bottom of the bottom with nothing left to lose. They've both been hopeless. And that little talk with them where she didn't leave him and you know, they kissed and then they sat down together. Ooh. That's just an example of people who are scarred. People who've been through so much shit. Like, that kiss was out of fucking nowhere. But they sat down like adults afterwards and they weren't like weirded out by it. They weren't like, oh my god, ugh. They sat down and they talked, and I think Ezekiel really needed to hear from someone else, like, hey man, I've been there. That even in the apocalypse, even a bunch of grown-ass adults in the apocalypse need that connection. They need that, I have felt that before, it's okay. I lived through it, you will too. I really, really liked that. I just feel so fucking bad for Ezekiel. And hearing him say all that to Michonne, and then hearing from Michonne, like, yeah, no, I've lost everything too. It's just like, it's a show, there has to be sad moments, there has to be conflict for it to progress. But I'm like, with characters like them, characters that are that well written and that rich in story and backstory and stuff, I'm like, just fucking let them be happy. Let them have something good in their life, you know? I mean, I know Michonne is her kids, so there is that, but Ezekiel, it feels like, has lost absolutely everything and has fuck all. And I don't like it. I want to see that man happy. I just love Carrie anyway, you guys know that, and he has the most gorgeous face, and when he looks sad, I'm like, I literally want to punch a concrete wall. I'm like, who do I gotta fight? Because I'll do it. I'll do it. All fucking 5'7" of me, I will go take a bitch on. I will fist fight loss. I don't know how I'm gonna do that, because it's not a person, but I'll do it for him. As for these people that attacked Lydia, okay, I understand that there is people that don't... It's like when they kind of first had Negan in the cell, and they were like, yeah, no, we're not going to kill him, we're going to keep him. You did have people kind of pushing back against that, going, no, let's not do that, like, he deserves to die. I can understand why there's people that don't want her there, why there's people who don't accept that she's changed, that she can be good. I get that. There's always going to be those kind of people. But, like, given what happened, given the fact that she was jumped in the middle of the night by two fucking dudes and a grown-ass woman, I feel like letting Negan off the hook is the only most logical thing to do. How can you blame a guy for killing a girl when he was saving a kid? You know? Sadiq is having these fucking trippy ass flashbacks. My guy is sticking his head in bowls full of water. He is not working through this. I'm thinking that there is a lot more to him than has been letting on. Like, yeah, I've always kind of just presumed it was like PTSD or something like that, survivor's guilt. But now, like, I have said it, and I've seen so many people saying it. Maybe he had something to do towards the end of the Pike victims. Like, I'm not saying he, you know, turned or is a spy or anything. I don't think that. But I think he might have been made do something fucked up that he's having difficulty live with. You know, so maybe, I don't know. It's interesting that there was one moment that happened between Luke and Eugene near the base of the stairs when they were having that meeting. And Luke just fucking, I don't know, he said, Eugene made some reference and Luke kind of was like, hey, I get that reference, but he didn't say it that way. I think that's interesting because Eugene has always kind of been the smart guy. Eugene's always been the weird fucking one that talks too much unnecessarily and just says too many words that really doesn't need to be said. And no one ever really gets what he's saying. They're like, haha, sure, Eugene. Mm-hmm. Or like Michonne, they just condense down what he's just said into like a 3-word sentence and everyone goes, that's what he meant. Okay. Luke is like the more chill version of Eugene. The more normal model of Eugene, I guess. And I'm liking Luke. I'm liking all of that group anyway. But yeah, that was just some of my instant thoughts, I suppose, because I just wanted to talk a little bit, because I'm going to make this a weekly thing now, because I do have a lot of shit to say, and I don't always say it in reactions, and I like clearing stuff up and whatnot. So, yeah, that was what I thought of this week's episode. We're already a quarter way through this fucking season. Let's just let that sink in a minute. So yeah, those are just my thoughts, you guys. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below, which I know you will anyway. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you all soon.